Hello! In this video, we'll make a form-controlled text input. Let's start by creating a component. For this we will create a directory for our inputs in the components directory. We will create a component directory in which we will store the input components. And create a directory and a component for our text input. As a basis, let's take the input component from the Chakra UI. Let's add the necessary exports. Now let's make a component for the layout of the inputs. As a wrapper, let's make a form control component from the Chakra UI. Let's add types for props, inheriting from form control props from Chakra UI. Next, let's add a component for displaying the label FormLabel component and the corresponding prop label with the string type. To display errors, let's add a prop error message, which is also a string type, and render the message using the FormErrorMessage component. To display help text, let's also add an optional helper text prop with string type. Now let's connect our layout to the text input component. But first, let's move the main input props to a common type. Label, name, helper text, these props will be available to all our inputs. Now let's pass the necessary props for the layout. It's time to connect the input to the form. Our form component has a form context provider, so let's get access to the context with the use form context hook. From the context, we need a control, which we must pass to the user controller hook. This hook allows us to register an input in the form, as well as get all the necessary parameters for state management. Also be sure to pass the name property. The field object contains the props needed to make the input controllable, handlers on change, on blur, value, and so on. We also need a field state object, from which we will take the error object and pass the error message to the layout. Let's go back to the layout component and add the invalid prop and make a boolean from error message as the value. We return to our input component. Add a default value prop and set the initial value to an empty string. Great, everything is ready. Now let's update our form on the sign-in page and replace the form elements with our input component. In the next part, we will connect the validation schema and the submit handler to our form. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment and like. See you in the next video.